Hello everybody, this is Mr. Kusaj. Welcome back to the last lesson of chapter 1-7. Don't forget to put the date up here. And the title is Inverse Relations and Functions. First, let's talk about inverse relations. Relation is another word for a type of a function. So here we have a relationship, right? For every x, there's a y, and when you graph it, we have a graph. So you can write the relationship like this. Y equals x squared minus 4. You can even write f of x equals x squared minus 4. Okay? Now the inverse of that, just like the word implies, inverse, is when you swap x and y, right? You would get this graph, right? And if you look at the equation, it's exactly like this, except x and y have switched places. So if you were to look for the inverse, right? If you wanted to graph the inverse of any function, what you would do is swap x and y and regraph it. Okay? Now, we always like our functions to start with y equals. So if you solve for y plus 4 square root, you would get this. Okay? So maybe you don't see it yet. You will when I show you the steps and the two examples. But these two are inverses of each other, right? If you didn't have the graph, you would see that these two are, you would know that these two are inverses. There's a way to check. Okay, so how do you write that down? If you see f of x with a little minus 1 power here, that means we're talking about the inverse of f of x. Right? The inverse of f of x. So you would say inverse f of x here, right? If you didn't see it, you would just say f of x. But if you saw it, you would say inverse of f of x. So we know where it came from. We took f of x, we swapped x and y, and we got inverse f of x. Okay? So this symbol is the inverse of f of x. Okay? How do you find it? Well, we kind of already talked about it. You replace f of x with y, and then you have y equals some expression with x in it. Then you switch places for x and y. You switch places. You solve for y, and then put back the f of x for y, but now, because it's the inverse, we put that little minus 1 there. Okay? So I have two examples, and you'll see how easy it is. If you're good at algebra, it'll be extremely easy. So what I did for the two examples was put them on opposite sides, okay? So I'm going to do example 1 going all the way down this way, like that, and this example going down this way. So let's do the first example. Okay, so what do we say? First, we take f of x and put y in there, right? Now, we want to, remember we're looking for the inverse. Now, where we see x, we put y, and where we see y, we put x. This is the switching places of x and y, so we get this. Right? Now, we solve for y. We solve for y. So cross multiply, right? X times this, y minus 1 times 1, right? Cross multiply. That's how you solve rational equations. And you get, right? You get this. Y minus 1 times 1 is y minus 1. Now what? Remember, we're solving for y. So distribute xy, x2, right? Put the y's together, minus y, minus y. We want the y's to go to one side, right, to come together. So I'm going to get rid of this y, bring it over here, and you get xy minus y, 2x minus 1 comes down, right? And now what? I got two y's here. Well, factor out the y. Factor out the y. Take out the y, and you get x minus 1. Right? Now what? Now, sorry. So I brought the y to this side, and I got xy minus y. You can't combine those, but you can factor out the y. So now I have y showing up only once. Remember, I'm solving for y. So I need to cancel the 2x, and I need to cancel the x minus 1. This you do with minus 2x, right? And 2x is gone. Right? You can't combine those. Now what? Now I need to get rid of the y minus 1. Since it's multiplication, I divide both sides by x minus 1, and I'm done. There you go. Y equals all of this. So again, if you know the rules of algebra, if you know algebra, it really is easy. All you're doing is replacing x and y, right? You're switching x and y, and then solving for y, okay? Oh, there's one more step. So we changed. So now that we know this is the inverse, we're going to use the inverse symbol here. That's this, right? So remember what we did. We started with a function, right? We were given a function, and we were asked to find the inverse, and here is the inverse. But it was all algebra. One more time. Okay, so this function says f of x equals square root of x minus 4. So first we change that to y. Then we switch places, right? Oh, I see. They're squared both sides because I started solving them. So when you switch places, it'll look like this, right? Now we need to solve for y. So we need to get the y out of the square root, right? So we square both sides, and the square root symbol is gone. So x squared is equal to this. We're solving for y. Plus 4 plus 4. So this seems a lot easier than the first one, huh? I got y equals this function, right? I'm done, practically. So I changed that to the inverse notation equals x squared plus 4. I'm done. This was way shorter. Okay, so if you go to page 67, you can try, I guess I did it last time. You can try 2a in page 67. So all we're doing is switching places with what? Notice how easy this was. Okay, so don't assume they're all going to be like really long, using a lot of algebra rules. Some of them are really quick. Switch x and y and solve for y. That's basically it. And then don't forget to put the symbol in there. But that's basically it. Okay, try 2a in page 67, and I'll see you next time in class. Bye.